Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's session. I am super glad to be here with you all today. And this is a conversation that I'm really excited to have with my lovely guest here. This conversation really does sit at the intersection of presence, of confidence, of visibility, all things that really matter as women step up, particularly into bigger roles and bigger rooms. And today I am joined by the brilliant Michelle Fragias. Michelle is a communication and speaking coach, and she helps women leaders find their voice, share their story, and own any stage. Michelle, welcome. It is so great to have you join me here today.
Thank you, Lucy. I'm excited for this conversation and what we're going to unravel with a very important topic. Absolutely.
I totally agree. It's an important topic. And I think, Michelle, just to set the scene for everyone here who's joining us, whether they're live or you might be watching this on a replay, you work with women leaders, so they might be in corporate. I also know you work with women who have their own businesses, and these are women who they're capable, Michelle. They've got lots of experience behind them, but there is often this hesitation around using their voice fully or speaking their truth or, being seen on bigger stages. And I certainly know from women that I talk to, whether they're clients or just in my circle, that we can feel very nervous about speaking up. And I've also had that too, I think we all have, right? We've all felt nervous about speaking up in meetings, in interviews, on the stage. Why do you think that fear is so common? And is it a women's thing too? Do we seem to have that fear more than men?
Well, firstly, I want to say I don't think it's separated by gender, right?
Yep.
However, women experience it more. And why do we experience it more? Because it can be seen in evolution. Back in the days of, the tribes and, trying to survive and, making sure that we fit into the tribe. So it's been evolutionary that we have these fears. But aside from that, there's also been societal conditioning as well, where we have been generations, mainly male-dominated, were working in the white collar, and not women, right? Women were stay at home, look after the children and nurture. So it's been a societal conditioning. It's also can be a cultural conditioning as well. Depends on where you grew up, even how your childhood. So there are many different layers that can impact why you might be feeling nervous and feeling the fear. Aside from the fact that more than 70% of the population fear public speaking in itself, for women, it can be a number of different layers. For example, if you grew up in a household where you were told, shh, you got to be a good girl, be quiet, don't talk too much, you've taken that on as truth. That it's not good to talk too much. I need to be quiet. So there's so many different aspects that might impact a woman feeling the fear of speaking up and using her voice. I often talk about there are 4 common layers of fear, and even men have this as well, but there's like the fear of judgment in terms of what will people think. We all judge, right? Yeah. What will they think of me? There's this other fear for women of also, there's this fear of getting it wrong. I need to know everything. I need to be professional. I need to have all the answers. So there's this fear of getting it wrong. Then there's this fear of being too much, or if I'm too loud or too confident, too boasting, that's not good either, right? And then this fourth layer of this fear of not belonging, because as humans, we all want to feel like we belong.
Yeah.
And that's a really deep fear. So you can see there are many layers.
So many layers.
So many layers. And they're just the four main ones that I work with. But yeah. So
and I even identify with more than one of those, Michelle.
Oh, completely. And I think, you know, with the women that we speak to and work with, you know, the more you progress in your career and the more in your leadership, that fear can amplify. And it can amplify even more because there's a thing called the success paradox. It's like, oh, the more successful I am, you would think, oh, I'd get more comfortable with speaking, I'd get more comfortable with visibility.
Yeah.
But it actually works the opposite, because there's more eyes on you, there's more to lose, there's more labels, there's too much more at stake.
Yeah. So as we kind of grow in our careers or in our businesses, then suddenly, as you said, like the stakes are higher, and we suddenly, and I feel as well, Michelle, that like other fears can come up, or perhaps other layers of that fear that we perhaps didn't have earlier on. Would that be right to say?
Oh, totally. Like the fear that I had in my corporate days was quite heightened, and I thought, okay, I've overcome those fears. Now I'm a woman in business. Now it's about, you know, getting more on video. Then there's those fears, and then there's promoting yourself, and it's a constant cycle.
We've got to keep something we have to sort of continuously keep working on, but we do need to keep working on it, Michelle, because I think one of the things that we also need to address is that if we do stay quiet and we hold back our voice and we don't speak up in meetings, there are also repercussions, or there's costs to that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's costs not only for you as the individual in terms of, you get overlooked for promotions. There's the cost of that your ideas are not put on the table, and therefore change might not be able to happen if you don't voice those ideas. And then generationally, we just continue to repeat the process. If we continue to stay silent, we won't break this, right? And there's so much wanting to have that, equality, gender equality and things like that. That's not going to happen unless we speak up more and we voice our ideas, our opinions, our beliefs, our insights, our perspectives. And it doesn't mean they have to be taken on, but that's another diversity of thought. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And our voice is our power, isn't it, really? And it's interesting, Michelle, you sort of speak about this. I feel like there's two parts to this. There is the getting over the fear to use our voice for the internal and personal growth that it gives us. And there's the external benefits where we get to add our perspective, our opinions, and our thoughts to the broader conversation going on around us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I feel that when we as women can express our full selves, not just from the inside, but also outside, that's when we can truly impact change, right? Change that we see as women, we see the gaps. We see a lot of the gaps because the skill set that feminine leadership brings is the empathy, is the intuition, right? Which was very much, and still to some degree, is not looked upon, as a priority, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of went, I think, I just feel that women bring a softer skill, a more nurturing,
Yep.
And in a world where there is so many wars, mental health, we need more of the softness.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
More of the
Yeah.
compassion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so working, with women on this every day, Michelle, that's what you do. You're working on helping them express themselves fully, helping them, step up in their communication. What are some of the biggest shifts from a mindset perspective that actually help women get past that fear of speaking?
If I think about some of the things that I've worked with women, there's a few. So the first thing is this fear that we have around voicing our ideas and our thoughts. When we are so focused on ourselves, right, internalize and go, oh, what will they think of me? Are they going to judge me? All of that. We don't actually shift through this fear, right? What I mean, so a mindset shift is, it's not about me. It's about me being of service to the message. And what I mean by that is when we remove the focus on ourselves and say, well, this is the message that I want to deliver. And this is why it's important that I deliver this message. We're just the vessel. We're the vehicle of the expression. And the minute we can move that from self-focus to service, that relieves okay, it's not about me. My role is to express the message. Yeah. My role is to trust that it will land with the people who need to hear it at the timing that it's required, and to trust that, And so the minute we start going, it's not about me, it's about being in service to the message, to the audience, to the listener, then we come from a heart space.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And just it's taking that focus off of ourselves, as you say, it's putting it back onto the audience. So I find, and this might be your experience too, Michelle, particularly with as business owners, if we, need to get on video or anything, and that can be really quite scary for the first time. But as soon as you do shift that focus to, this is what I want to share, and this is, my goal is for this to be of service to someone, for someone hearing this, for it to help, it changes the energy that we have around it.
Yeah. Yeah. It becomes of service, right? It's
not. I love that.
And I want to even say to the listeners out there that I know it's hard to speak up. That's my whole story, right? But when I started to shift from moving from myself to being of service, then it just releases the whole pressure.
Yes.
Right? And my role as the messenger is that I work on getting clearer. I work on amplifying the message. I work on the different layers of my voice so the message is not monotone, or, how I present myself so that my external visual matches and aligns with my message. That's what you work on.
Yes. Right? Oh my gosh, I love that.
This internal stuff, absolutely. It'll come up, and it'll come up with every level of your visibility. There's a new devil. Right? I always say that. And it's like, we just got to get curious and, see what that is. And
because it's all coming up for a reason, isn't it, Michelle? And all we can do is be curious and look back at it and go, what is this related to? Because there'll be something there that's triggering it, right? And there are many different modalities and ways that we can work through those. I agree that, with a new level, there's a new devil, but it's all just part of, I sort of see it as just part of our journey of self-growth and understanding.
Absolutely. And the thing is, sometimes, and depending on the listeners, they might think this is a bit woo-woo, right? But it might not even be yours. You might be holding on to beliefs and ideas that are not even yours. They've been energetically attached to you. You might be, part of a moment in your life that you saw that in a particular lens, in a particular way, and you've taken that on as truth, right? And until you start exploring all of that and getting curious with that, then you can start releasing and looking at it differently, right? So we all hold on, and our bodies hold on to things, you know.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and you can't work it through the mind. I can tell you that you can't work it through the mind.
No, absolutely not. So love that, Michelle. So the biggest mindset shift, if I just go back to that point, was just really about putting the focus on, the others, who you're here to serve, or who needs to hear that message today, and just taking it off ourselves, and understanding that there is going to be some work and just some shifts around our mindset that need to take place for us to start speaking up more.
Yeah, that's the main one. And probably the other one that doesn't get spoken about enough is to look in, like, am I expressing my truth? Is this my truth? So just kind of like a self-check-in. Are these my values? Is this my idea? Is it coming from me? Right? Because often when you have this fear, it can sometimes be, am I trying to communicate someone else's ideas, someone else's values? Am I fully aligned with the message? Right? So coming back to yourself and going, is this my truth? Are these my values? And it's a real self-check-in, because I do it. Like, we get influenced by so much. There's so much noise out
Agreed.
there. And coming back to, like, for example, even coming on here tonight, I was like, okay, what are some of the things that I want to voice, that I have my ideas? Because we can get so trapped into that AI that we can lose who we are, our truth.
That's a really interesting point around AI, because I have also found this, and if there's anyone who's live, if you want to share in the comments, I do find that I feel that our voices are starting to become generic, and so generic, and if we don't really monitor that, and we're also, sometimes you put something into AI, it kind of can often just lead you down a path that may not feel like it's your path or it's who you are, because it is pulling from so many different ways. And so I think just having that time, Michelle, that is such a wonderful tip, to just sit there and ask yourself those questions. So you said, is this aligned with my values? Is this was it my message?
My ideas? Is this my truth? Yeah, just
really. I love that. Is this my truth?
Yeah, I noticed it myself, Lucy. Like, we're so fed with having AI for efficiency and things like that, and there is a lot of value to it, but also you can lose your own value in it.
Agreed.
Right. And so it's super important that, a lot of people, we're just spitting out information, but is that really you? Like, if I was having a conversation, is that you? And so a lot of the times now, when I'm putting my own, because I've been in that vortex of AI, guilty of it, right? And I knew, and I've had that disconnect. And I'm like, where's my ideas? Where are my thoughts? They feel lost. And what's going to happen is those that really stand out in their own visibility are those that are owning their ideas, their values, their stories, and speaking it imperfect. It doesn't need to be structured.
Just doing it in a way that's very, very authentic to them, which leads me into, Michelle, I wanted to ask you about, because I think, this can be also one of the most challenging parts. We want to be authentic in who we are and, share our voice and our stories. But for example, particularly for women working in corporate, in corporate environments, and you were in corporate, I was in corporate, how can we share our stories and be authentic in a way that still fits within that corporate context?
I love this question because I'm a very big believer of storytelling is so powerful as women leaders, right? And the thing is, a lot of women hold back because there's a lot of vulnerability and all those layers of fears that I spoke about, that fear of judgment, getting it wrong, being too much, all of that plays out. So, I'm not going to share a story. Gosh, that exposes me too much. How do we do it? We do it in a way that the story that I'm sharing has purpose. Okay, so what is the purpose of me? What is the purpose of me sharing this story? That's the first. So what's my intention around it? And then how do I connect it to whatever the reason is? Is it about teaching something? Is it about getting a team around the vision? Is it about connecting the dots around the strategy, right? So we're not sharing the story for the sake of sharing it. We're connecting the dots of the story. So it's like, what's the purpose and the intention, and how are we connecting the dots, right? Because there's so many that will just share a story and it's like, okay, well, what was the purpose of that? I don't get it, right? Okay, did they just use me as a therapy, kind of express myself, right? So as women leaders, if we want to be seen and heard, and really seen and heard, we want to make sure that any stories that we share, that we connect the dots. So if we are taking a team through a new strategy or a new project, and we want to get them on board working together, right? Having open and transparent communication, then the story to share is about that. Teams coming together, about open and transparent communication. So it's got to connect the dots. Does that make sense?
100%. And I think all of this also still comes back to like self-reflection, right? And it's really thinking about and spending some time about what we want to communicate and why we're communicating that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gosh, back in my days, I was driving mental health and well-being, right? Part of an organization. I was very passionate about it. And one of the ways that we opened up communication and transparency around this topic was we needed leaders to share stories of their own mental health. Now, that's a big ask, right? To ask senior leaders to share their mental health story. And I can tell you now, there was only a small handful of people that put their hand up for it. And I was one of them, where I shared my story around my mental health challenges during a period of time. But when I shared it, I connected the dots in terms of how it impacted my work, because the whole idea was about, how mental health impacted work. So I was connecting the dots. Yeah, I wasn't just sharing to kind of say, well, this is my story, this is who I am. And no, I was connecting the dots. And that impact of sharing that story opened my door so much to so many other leaders who also were struggling with mental health. Right?
Because I think it just helps us connect so much, doesn't it?
Oh, it breaks down the barriers, right? So storytelling is about trust, because people see parts of themselves in it. It's about relatability. It's about memorability. And it's actually also, here's one for you, for the women leaders, it's about your authority. But I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about your leadership. Okay, but I'm talking about your authority from a lived experience, right? When you are sharing your own story from experience, the doubts, the grit, the struggles, the obstacles, the climb, all of that, that gives you this level of authority that you've been there.
Yeah.
You've walked the path.
That's so great, Michelle.
And that's powerful.
That is powerful, 100%. And And we, you know, I think it's so easy, particularly with social media, that we just see the highlight reels all the time, or we just sometimes see the results or where someone's at without realizing all the grit and the hard work and the failures that went on behind that
Yeah.
in order to lead to that level of success or leadership that they've got.
Yes. Yeah. And what we need is we need more leaders sharing those stories.
I agree. Absolutely.
There's not enough of those stories.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, they're the ones that I want to read about because they're inspiring. They help us feel connected, that they are also human and a real person, and we're all allowed to fail. And, you know, we're all, these challenges are a normal part of being a leader.
Yeah. Like, I mean, one of the story, I shared the story about storytelling with a lot of people, how I fell in love with it and how it came into my world. But I also shared that when I shared my story and was vulnerable and people coming to me, it was really overwhelming. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to receive the acknowledgements, the celebrations, the, you know, and that actually made me want to shut down as well in my own visibility. So when I came out and shared my story and then had all the people come in, it was like, oh no, you know.
There's another level of fear that comes up, isn't there? Yeah.
I went too big. I now want to shut down.
Yes.
And that doesn't get talked about enough either. I wanted to mention that because I know that the women that we work with, they've probably experienced that. It's like a vulnerability hangover, Brené Brown puts it, right? It's a vulnerability hangover. We go out there, we share our truth, we put it out there, and then it's like, oh no, like either the floodgates come in or there's silence.
And we want to just sometimes run and hide under the covers, don't we?
Correct. Absolutely. And there's all processes around that and getting your body feeling safe to be visible, safe to receive the celebrations, the acknowledgement. It's all a practice.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. So we've been talking a lot about, you know, this concept of storytelling, Michelle, which I love. Why, you know, you've touched on this, but why do you think it is, or let me ask it this way, is it becoming more important, do you feel, for female leaders and for being visible?
The storytelling? Absolutely. Yeah, I think to stand out as a communicator and a better communicator, storytelling is the vehicle. And the reason I say that is because there is a lot of leaders out there. They share facts, data, information. They're speaking at us, right? And we're all guilty of it, right? But those leaders, the communicators who thread storytelling, it's so powerful. It's influential. It's you connect with people from an emotional connection. You shift ideas and perspectives. People see, so all of that in storytelling. Like if we look at the human brain, when we receive information, it's just pieces of a puzzle. Storytelling, right, puts the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yes, exactly.
It creates a picture in our mind. Someone's keen to get a hold of you.
Yeah. My apologies if you were hearing that. Call coming through. It's my husband, and I'm like, nope, not picking that one up.
And I tell you, it's normally my mum that interrupts lives. I love you, Mum, but you know, So storytelling puts it all together in a beautiful painted picture. Like if I talk to you about, this morning I woke up and I got in my car and it was a little bit chilly, but I walked to my local park and then I met up with my friend and we went for a run and oh God, it just felt so good. The dopamine started hitting, right? When I'm talking about running, the part of your brain that has action lights up. Yeah. Right. So when I bring emotions, then I just had a mental blank of the part of the limbic part of your brain lights up, the emotional connection. So that's the power of storytelling. We can bring concepts together in storytelling, like complicated concepts in storytelling. That one of my managers, he was brilliant at storytelling. Oh, just beautiful. It was just like music.
And I think it's just innately human, isn't it, to tell stories, for us to connect over stories. And I think if we are talking about leadership and visibility, we want to connect with leaders who are visible. Leaders who are who feel authentic, who feel genuine. And I think storytelling is really what helps us do that.
Absolutely, it just breaks down the barriers. Just when leaders are real with their team, their team will be real with them. That's the reality. I've worked in places where leaders are not real. They're not sharing their stories, or they're really they control how much of the story. And then the leaders that are real, they're vulnerable. They will tell it like, I stuffed up, or I got that wrong and I feel the same. Bang, like just breaks down the barriers of human to human. And there goes the whole, they're my leader and I'm here. No. Yeah.
And don't we need more of that in corporate, Michelle?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely.
And it's a practice in how to articulate it in the right way. I mean, look, I'm about being imperfect and bringing your authentic, but if you want to lead more teams, want to lead really big change and influence, and you're going to be communicating a lot, you've got to become better and masterful at your storytelling skill.
And Michelle, I came away with some amazing storytelling skills in one of your speaking circles that I was very, very lucky to be part of. And just, the incredible knowledge that you have in this area around that storytelling was, amazing. I walked away from that, I think it was an hour and a half or 2 hours. I was in that circle, and it was just fantastic. And you also shared with me something that I love and that I practice and that I actually do before I do these LinkedIn Lives every week.
Yes, I love it. Have you shared it with people what you do?
I haven't, because I'm going to let you share with people. We did it before we started that speaking circle. You recommended I do it, before I get on these lives, or really any sort of, time when you're on speaking. Please share with the audience, Michelle. What do you recommend we do?
I think I know what you're talking about, but one of I call them pre-stage rituals. So things to get you ready. Yeah, whether that's going to a boardroom, any stage, right? And there are so many different things, but one of the things that we do in the speaking circle is we dance. And we get out of our heads, because, boy, we live up here a lot of the times. And we get into our body. We connect back to our truth, our center, who we are as a human being. And, that changes the energy, gets you ready. It gets you being of service. I'm here to be of service. Like, even before I came here, I do it myself. I've got music. If I'm high vibing too much and I need to, ground myself, then I've got slower music. If I need to raise my energy, then I've got my, vibing music. But music is such a beautiful way to just 2-3 minutes. That's it, and just to reconnect to you, your center, your truth. I love that you do that. I love that you
do it every week. I pop on my music before I get on these lives. It changes the energy, and as you say, it just gets you out of your head, helps you again to take the focus off you. It's about putting that focus, back on the message and what am I here to share with people today. So I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved your speaking circle, Michelle, and I know you've got lots of different resources and ways that you work with people, but if someone is watching this and they're thinking, that's me, I am scared of speaking up, or they're unclear about how they can own their voice, be a more confident speaker,
Yeah.
Is there one small step that they could take this week to start changing that?
I think the first step is to start small. Okay.
Mm.
And see, we often think we've got to go big, but start small. So I'll give you an example with one of my clients I worked with, very male dominated company that she worked in. And she would have meetings every week, right? And she would stay silent. And she was not at that level of, okay, speaking up yet. So what could I do? I said, so let's start with something really small. And it could be as you walk in the room and you sit down and everything like that, maybe get up and say, does anyone want a glass of water? That could be your speaking up.
Yes.
Because or, it might be, hi, so-and-so. Like, just pick one thing that's going to stretch you that little bit more, okay? And that's going to get your body on board and your mind on board to show, I can do this. I can do this, because it is a practice. It's a muscle, like going to the gym. We want to get stronger, feeling confident, speaking up. It's a muscle we need to train. And the way we train it is not just from the mind and what we learn and that, but it's from the doing.
It's so true. It's the experience. Little by little, we build it.
Little by little. So if I was to leave, think of one thing that scares you right now that you could do that little bit to stretch. And maybe it's like saying hello to the coffee barista. Instead of going, oh, can I have my long black? Say, how's your day today? How's your day going? Like, do something that little bit different that feels uncomfortable.
Yes.
That
just to push us a little bit. And then once we've done that, suddenly we can kind of feel like we can take another step and another step and another step after that.
Yes. And it's small steps. It's like if you want to get on videos, right? And you want to go live on or do a video on your socials, do one on your phone first.
Yeah.
Like, practice there. And maybe the next step might be share it with a friend. Yeah. So that means someone's watching it, right? So it's just micro changes. That's it. I'm all about micro steps, getting your body, yep, I can do this. Now what's the next?
Yeah, just slowly, step by step, building up that confidence.
Yes.
Michelle, I could sit here and talk to you for a lot longer.
I'm a talker.
We've gone for nearly 40 minutes, but there's just been so many wonderful pieces of wisdom that you have shared with everybody today. And if someone does want to, have an experience, a little bit more of an experience of your work, Michelle, you have a wonderful and new sort of gap analysis around this topic that they can do.
Yeah. So one of the things back in my corporate days, I was told I needed to have more confidence, right? And I didn't quite understand what that meant. Firstly, it was like I needed to have more confidence to speak up, to use my voice.
Yeah.
But confidence is not just one thing. It is actually a mirror of many things. And, you can be sent down a whole spiral of going, oh, I've got to do that for confidence. I've got to do that. So I've developed, it's a confidence code gap analysis. And what that is, it's got 8 different areas of what it means to feel confident. So from your visual code, which is what you do a lot of work with, then your vocal code, like how do you feel about your voice and how you articulate, then from your message, right? So there are 8 confidence codes. And by doing this gap analysis, it'll show you exactly where you might be feeling less confident in what area. And then that's your roadmap to go, okay, that's where I need to put my focus and energy to first.
Amazing.
So if they want that, I don't know how I can share it with your audience whether...
What we might do is we'll drop a link in the comments with that, Michelle. So if you want to take that gap analysis, I've done it. I found it hugely insightful. As you say, I think we can go down a rabbit hole when we're given feedback that is as broad as you need more confidence. So this allows it to so many different directions. So this was wonderful. It was very, very, as you say, like there's these different elements of confidence, and it even just going through the process of the questions I found incredibly insightful. As we were talking before, you know, we need to become self-aware, and it was a wonderful reflective exercise, Michelle. And then obviously you are giving people a bit of an analysis at the end to say what are some of those areas that you need to work on. So we'll drop the link for that below this event. And if there's other questions or comments that come up around this topic, please feel free to drop those below, or you can also, you know, reach out to me or reach out to Michelle directly on LinkedIn. Connect with Michelle on LinkedIn if you're not already. What a wonderful, insightful conversation, Michelle. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm sure everyone got so much out of this.
Thank you so much, Lucy. I really enjoyed it. And all I can say is we need to see more women on the stages.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you for allowing me to share this stage with you and get my message out there. So
thank you for sharing the stage with me today, Michelle. And thanks for everyone who joined, whether you were live or on the replay. Thanks so much. And I'll see you back next week.
Bye.